had the whole strong black woman rhetoric that was spewing out for the last 45 years. The whole term strong black woman, we started hearing that in the early 70s. We started hearing that in the early 70s. And the reason why we would hear that is because a lot of people thought that was a compliment, saying that, oh, you black women are so strong. Black folks got tricked into believing that was a compliment. That was a setup. That was a setup by the white supremacists. They were setting black women up because, like I said earlier, you can judge a community on how well you can protect the women and children from outsiders. And the white supremacists, they've always wanted to be in a position where they can openly attack the women and children of the black community. They've always been in a position where they wanted to do that. They've always wanted to be in that position. You got to understand how white supremacy works. Now, on the plantation, they couldn't openly, just random white supremacists, they just couldn't openly kill black women like that. They would really mistreat a lot of black women, and the plantation owners would rape and just do all types of degrading things. But the overall white community and the white supremacist community could not just harm random black women at will because, again, black people were property. During Jim Crow, up until the 1960s, they've always tried to figure out a way to get to the black female to harm her. It's like when you get to the queen bee, you got the whole colony. And they've been really wanting to get to the queen bee. Because once you really destroy that queen bee, the colony is just done. You get the water at the well. And in the 60s, up until the 60s, they would try. But even though many black people were scared, many black people were trying to conform with white supremacy, whenever they did attack black females, the rest of the community, black males, would step up and say, hey, wait, enough is enough. You can't do that. This is why when you look at a lot of riots that happened in the 60s, like the Watts riot was brothers rallying to protect the black female. The police in Watts attacked a black woman. In the riots in Newark and I think in Harlem and other places, there were white supremacists and white cops attacking black women, and then black people the men came and just burned these cities down. So the black males would not let them go after the women. They went out of their way, they got real bold whenever they went after the women. So the white supremacists had to regroup right after the 60s. So they had to come up with other strategies where they couldn't attack the black women outright at that moment. Now, they were going to go after the men and be more covert about their actions. This is when you started to hear the rhetoric of the strong black woman. Again, you started hearing that right after the 60s. You started hearing that right after the 60s. Oh, black woman, you strong, you strong. They were saying that because when it was time to mistreat black women again and when I say mistreat, I mean literally beat the shit out of black women, people would not feel so bad about it because, hey, she's strong. You dig? That whole strong black woman thing means that when we attack you as white supremacists, nobody's going to feel bad because, hey, you're strong, you can take it. I think there was a survey that came out that people in society, subconsciously, they feel that black people feel less pain. So they're less empathetic to pain. Or they're less empathetic to black people. So the thing is, now that they see that black folks are weakened, that the black community has been switched upside down, meaning the women have been put in a so-called masculine position and the males put in a feminine position, being taking care of the women. You got a bunch of little moist skinny jean wearing dudes out here who are cowardly. Now they have the black community right where they want them. And this was confirmed after the Trayvon Martin Zimmerman trial, when they saw that they could, under a black president, kill a black kid, go to court, first of all, have a rally to even arrest the guy, get into court and acquit the person who did it, use white supremacy to make all of this stuff happen, and then black people do not create any kind of negative repercussion. They said, okay, got them. We got them back where we want them. Or campaign. They came up with the whole street harassment thing in the early 80s, but then they came up with this new street harassment campaign where the white feminists got a bunch of black women, because a lot of these black female feminists, they want that pat on the head from white women in white society. They got them and said, hey, come join with us. We got this whole street campaign, this campaign about street harassment, and we want you to tell us your experience of dealing with street harassment. And the face of street harassment is going to be black men. And they made black males the face of street harassment, and they brought black women in to shit on black men. And I talked about this extensively last year, and a lot of the black feminists just went in on me. They wrote several negative articles about me. Go check out some of those articles from October 2003. They wrote several negative articles about me, because I was talking about how this whole street harassment thing is going to blow up in y'all's faces. Y'all black feminists, y'all just signed a death certificate for black women doing that shit. I told them that last year. I was going in on them. I'm like, y'all think you've carved a little niche for yourself with white supremacists by throwing us up under the bus? It don't work like that. You just shitted on the whole black community buddying up with these white supremacists. Oh, Tariq, he's trying to stop women from talking about street harassment. They did their whole spiel. Sure enough, the chickens came home to roost. The last year, we've seen our sister Renisha McBride get shot in the face by a white supremacist up there in Detroit. They had to decide if they were going to arrest the guy. The trial is still pending. Now this week alone, or in the last couple of weeks, you had a black female professor, I think she was in Arizona somewhere. She was on campus, she didn't have ID. They beat this woman up. She's a black female professor. She's like, I'm a professor. Y'all thought I'm an educated black woman. I'm an educated black woman, because she kept saying how she's a professor and all that. Look, you think your educated black woman spiel is going to work on the white supremacists, you got another thing coming. They beat her ass. A few days ago down in Georgia, a black woman was driving. She was driving slow. It was an off-duty white cop behind her, honking his horn. He got upset. He got into this road rage. The sister pulled over. The guy followed her. Got out of his car, called this black woman all types of niggas, and spit on her. This happened a couple of days ago. These white supremacists are not playing no more. Out here in Los Angeles, California, white supremacist cop beat the brakes off of a black great-grandmother. The lady that they beat up was a black great-grandmother. Beat the brakes off this woman in the middle of the freeway, on the side of the freeway. He was beating her ass like she was a dude. I mean, this dude had on gloves. I mean, just socking her like a damn man on some MMA fighting shit. When you see that, when they're beating black women down in the street like you're a dude, you got to start getting serious. People thought that they could bedwench their way into sanctuary with white supremacy. And sisters, you're getting your wake-up call, and you got to understand how white supremacy works. Again, once a bedwench's usefulness is no longer needed, they don't need you as a mammy no more. So all of these women out here, these black women, if they don't need you sexually anymore, it's open season on you. You're useless to the white supremacist power structure. They really don't need you no more. So they're going to treat you just like they treat the black men. And because you're a strong black woman, nobody's going to feel any remorse because you deserve it. The beatdown that woman got, I saw one news story report the incident they said barefooted bag lady gets beat down. You see how disrespectful even some of the media outlets are being by that. You understand it? When you look at some of the comments in the chat room, you had people like, well, we don't know the whole story. The white supremacists are rallying around each other. Again, you got to understand the bedwench angle ain't working no more. You can't bedwench your way into white supremacy and think it's going to be cool. And truth be told, even if you are a bedwench, you ain't 100% safe if you ain't on your P's and Q's. Ask V. Stiviano. V. Stiviano is the preeminent bedwench right now. Did that stop them from walking up on her in New York and knocking her in her fucking head? And calling her all types of nigger bitches? Y'all remember that happened in New York? V. Stiviano, they ran up on her and beat her ass in New York. She thought that she could bedwench her way into a cool position with white supremacy. And you know, that was the reason why they did that. That was to keep her mouth shut. Because the thing is, with V. Stiviano, she's like, since she's in a telling mood, they sent a message to her, the people on top. They're like, look, you better keep your mouth shut. Don't tell too much, because I'm pretty sure V. Stiviano knows a lot of shit. V. Stiviano could come out saying some shit. Well, Donald Sterling told me that they fix games. She can shut a whole bunch of shit down. V. Stiviano could shut a lot of shit down. She can go say, hey, certain team owners are betting against their team. She could shut a lot of shit down. So don't think that them running up on that woman was random. If she came out with a tell-all book, she can fuck the whole NBA up if she wanted to. So that's why they ran up on her and knocked her in her damn head. That was a warning. So again, you're not safe in the bedwench community. And thinking that you're going to buddy up with them to be safe, it don't work like that. They're going to beat you down first. Look at how they're treating these sisters out here now. They're beating these sisters down like men. They're not playing out here. This woman, Anthony, was out here in New York taking pictures of random women, tried to lie and say he was taking pictures of the city and a woman walked into his frame. That's a complete lie. He was under some scaffolding. There was no city to see. He was taking pictures of women. A woman called him out. Then he lied and said the woman punched him and beat him up, which is a total lie. I don't believe none of it. Sounds like he got into a verbal altercation with the woman and might have assaulted her. And he called the woman all types of names and then got on the internet and called the woman all types of names. And what's surprising, or not even surprising, what's amazing about this is that all of these street harassment people are not saying a goddamn word. Where are all the people from Holla Back? Where are all the black feminists now? Where are all the other feminist groups now? When y'all were talking about when black men were the face of street harassment, they plastered black men's faces all over the place. Got all types of federal, not federal, but state money for this whole street harassment thing when black men were the face of it. This dude went beyond street harassment. You're walking up to random women on the streets, harassing them, taking their picture, then calling them all types of names. If that's not street harassment, I don't know what is. This Anthony called that woman all types of bitches, hoes, cunts, animals, dogs. He called that woman every name under the sun, and these women's groups are quiet as shit, including the black feminists. This is why we call you Negro bedwenches. This is why this proved everything I said, that this whole street harassment was racialized. It was another way to target black men. You have a dude, a white male right here, calling black women everything under the sun except the child of God, and then none of y'all say nothing. Right there in New York, none of you say one word about it. Nothing. This is why we do not take you seriously, black feminists and other these other women's groups. If that was reversed, if Tom Joyner Hell, let's not even go extreme. Let's look at the whole street harassment thing. You know what street harassment is? Basically, if a brother walks up to a woman and says hi, they consider that street harassment. Did you know? And I'm not even exaggerating. If a brother walks up to a woman on the streets and says hello, they consider that street harassment. They're trying to get laws where they can get a brother arrested for saying that. I'm not exaggerating. So hell, I won't even have to go extreme. Hell, if a brother smiles at a woman too long, they can criminalize him. This dude basically harassed, assaulted, cursed out, then went back home and tweeted the shit he said to a black woman. Nothing happened. He called her pig, dog. Then he went in on all black folks. They ain't human. They're not people.